G'day Bush Camping Tools. Well, this is really a show and tell. This is not a review. I want to show and tell something about this model here. This is the limited edition BN2026 Aqualand 200 meter diving watch from Citizen. This model was released in 2014. I'm not going to review it because, you know, many people have reviewed it. Some have reviewed it quite incorrectly, I feel. But anyway, it's a limited edition, fully made in Japan. And it's a limited edition because, let me just show you here, it's fully titanium nitride coated on all the metal parts. And you see the back is coated in titanium nitride, which is a ceramic material. And the front case, crown, depth sensor, water sensor, rather, this is the water sensor, and the pusher, the screw-in pushers, locking pushers have also been titanium nitride coated. The depth sensor is not coated with titanium nitride. The bezel, which gives a loud click, it's a good bezel. That's a DLC, diamond-like carbon coating on the bezel. DLC, it's also a PVD process like the titanium nitride. It's not indestructible, this stuff, but it is very hard wearing. So there you go, titanium nitride coated, fully made in Japan, the Aqualand 200 meter diver with the fuel gauge on there. A myth in general about the 200 meter depth meter diver, that's this model, or the one with just stainless steel, not titanium nitride coated on there. And that is the myth on the internet about why the hands are hollowed out, why the hands have a gap in them. And regardless of what anybody else says, I'll tell you the facts. The reason why the hands are hollowed out is simply to allow, the hands are big and fat, and it's to allow enough light to reach the solar panel behind the hands. There's a lot of hands on this watch, and the minute hand and the hour hand are hollowed out for the reason it's a small solar cell, and it's to allow maximum amount of light to get to the surface of the watch, the solar cell of the watch. It is not, as some people are suggesting with great authority, that, you know, if the hands happen to be over the depth indicators, depending on what depth you're at, and they all happen to line up at the same position, which is extremely unlikely, but in the event that happens, you know, they're trying to say, well, you know, that's what depth you'd be at. Well, that's ridiculous, because you'd still be able to read what depth you're at, because you've got your depth markers around here from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and that cannot, it won't make any difference because you'll still be able to see the numbers. And secondly, you'd only have to remain, you know, for the next 30 seconds to a minute at that particular depth. The time will have changed, and you'll be able to read you'll be able to see the hands, the current depth indicator hand, and or the maximum depth indicator hand. So again, the reason why the hands are hollowed out here is to allow better charging, you know, on a very busy dial face, better charging of that solar panel behind there. Those disbelievers out there, how do I know this? Well, the 300 meter diver has no current depth hand, and it doesn't have a maximum depth hand, and yet its two hands, other than the second hand, the minute hand and the hour hand, they are also hollowed out, and that is because the cell behind it is very small. Now, if we look at the famous EcoZilla model, the 300 meter EcoZilla, you will see that the hands are not hollowed out, and that is because the cell is bigger. The cell is bigger behind there, and the hands don't need to be hollowed out. But these models like this Aqualand 200 meter diver and the 300 meter diver, and also, if I'm not incorrect, the 1000 meter diver, their hands are hollowed out because the cell is smaller. This watch requires 3 minutes of full sun. That's not sun behind a window. It's full direct sun for 1 day's worth of charging, whereas something like this requires only 2 minutes of full sun for 1 day of charging. So these times differ, you know, and presumably it's slightly longer for this because the watch face is a lot more busier. There's more hands on there. It's more difficult for light to get to the solar cell behind the watch face. Another thing I'd like to point out is that the band on this watch does not allow the watch to be laid flat on a desk or some surface. The way the band is structured, the rubber band that comes with the watch, you have to put the watch like this. or like this, right? You cannot stick it like that because the band won't go past there like that and the watch will fall over. So it has to be stuck like that or like that. And I think possibly maybe there was some, you know, good reasoning behind that, because after a dive, you should really soak this watch immediately in fresh water. And later when you take it out to drain it, if you place a depth sensor down, that will drain the water on some slightly absorbent material, will drain out of there properly like that. I should point out too that if you do get this thing wet on the water sensor here, what you should do is you should wipe water off of it or perspiration off of it, and after a while it will stop the actuation of the actual depth sensing mechanism within the watch, because you're not diving. You will not record a depth on this if you only go to a meter below the surface as well. It comes with this box, this funky box here, and I have to say this box is not meant to be some decoration. Some people might think it's a decoration that it comes with that. No, this is meant to transport the watch because it should be kept in a dry condition without the depth sensor being activated prior to a dive. So you can put the watch in here. This is quite sturdy. This could go in the dive box. It's not going to have the watch destroyed by throwing other things in the dive box, so you should never throw things in your dive box. It's got a big, thick, chunky rubber O-ring around there to protect it from dust and especially water. So yeah, there's that came with the booklet, warranty, all that kind of material there. And yeah, so this box is really meant to, it's not a decorative thing, you know, Citizen are not producing this thing as some kind of decoration. This is a very sturdy box, and it is designed, in fact, to transport the watch on a dive. You can transport it like that, and you will not damage the watch. You can go in the dive box. It's, you know, water resistant, dust proof, etc. Okay. To be honest, I'm not keen that the minute hand is not fluoro orange like the current depth hand there, because it's you have to read the time in a hurry on this watch. You have to look for the big chunky bit of lume at the end of it because it's been coated with this titanium nitride and it tends to blend in. It's very dark in there on the hand of the watch, so it's not a watch that you can read the time on very quickly. It is a busy dial on there. As I said, this is more of a tool than a daily wearer. But let's face facts, many people love collecting watches. I'm not really a watch collector. I have these things as tools to use, but it's a funky watch. It looks cool. This titanium, I think the titanium nitride coating on it makes it look really cool. It has a big presence on there. It is a bit cumbersome to wear if you've got a sleeve down on there like that. And it is a watch that I believe as a tool you need to have it well maintained. Anyway, there you go, bush camping tools here. I just thought I'd show you that. The Citizen Aqualand Promaster 200 meter depth diver BN2026. This is the limited edition titanium nitride coated, and it's fully made in Japan. Thanks for watching.